lo and behold, she's looking at white wedding dresses. You know, I left
What
UK.
you mean as in British or Western wedding dresses?
Absolutely white wedding dresses. Like, I left the UK to marry.
I'm gonna make another assumption that it's 2 o'clock at the night. You know what I'm saying? She's showing her cleavage potentially.
Whoa. So the pretty girls are in demand here.
I mean, even the girls that me and you will look at, she walks past us in like the Nando's queue.
Yeah.
She's in demand.
So you're saying girls that you don't find pretty are still in demand? Thank you for watching part 3 of this, trilogy of this saga, International Brides. I felt compelled to bring on some kind of an expert, and I have got an expert with me. He's been married for 16 years, very mature, discerning man, to an international bride, and I'll let him to say who he's married to and how he got married very briefly, and then he will give his take on what he thinks about my guest's sham marriage. Without further ado, Brother Mdad, thank you very much for coming on.
Welcome.
Firstly, you look very good.
Thank you very much. Likewise.
You know, it's unfortunate that we've heard this story. We've heard part 1 and 2. Quickly, before we do delve into what you think of his account, just give the audience a bit of an idea of why you're credible.
So, I have been successfully married for 16, going on 17 years now, alhamdulillah, to an international bride,
Alhamdulillah.
to an Arabic woman from Arabic country, and I've learned a lot about not only Arabic culture, but there isn't, really an homogeneous Arabic culture. My wife is Palestinian Syrian, and each of the Arab regions, even within the Arab regions, have their own culture. And I've learned a lot about Arabs, about their own culture. But I've also learned a lot about my culture, who I am. You can only contrast black and white when you put them together. And that's really what happened with my marriage. And alhamdulillah, I have 3 beautiful children. I have a beautiful wife. And it's a blessing. But it hasn't been easy. It's been actually very difficult because our cultures are completely different.
What, diametrically different?
Diametrically different. And this difference I started realizing early on when we were talking about marriage, and she was looking at wedding dresses. Lo and behold, she's looking at white wedding dresses. You know, I left
What you mean as in British or Western wedding dresses?
Absolutely white wedding dresses. Like, I left the UK to marry an Arabic bride. There's me expecting some Arabic wedding dresses, and she's looking at white wedding dresses, and it's the norm there. Everything is different, and you start to realize that how different they are to us, and that obviously makes the marriage much more difficult in ways you wouldn't expect. Every little thing, there's a cultural difference.
So even the films that you watched or the drama you grew up
everything it's difficult to watch films with my wife because she doesn't understand the language a lot of times. She doesn't like those type of films.
But you're proficient in Arabic, right?
Alhamdulillah, I'm proficient in Arabic. My children speak Arabic, and so even with the language, we converse in Arabic. Language is obviously a communication tool. But what's the cultural tool?
There isn't one.
There isn't one. You can only learn the cultural tool by living the culture.
Fascinating. I mean, perhaps we'll have another episode with you just to delve into how you've navigated your marriage up until now. Just quickly though, high-level summary. How have you protected and been successful at your marriage before we delve into our saga here?
I always say marriage are like the hills of Cornwall. Many ups and downs. So marriage, any marriage is hard. Why is marriage hard? Because it's 2 people living in the same space. Now, if those 2 people are diametrically opposed, you get an explosion. That's why I always say it's so important to look at compatibility first, then you look at other stuff later. Because it's like, you get 2 atoms, a magnet, or look at a magnet, you get the wrong sides, they repel. So it's 2 people living in the same you have to realize it's living in the same space.
Surely
you're not 2 people anymore, you're 1 person.
Surely the endeavour and the spirit and the essence of marriage needs to matter as well.
Absolutely. So when you say the endeavor and the spirit, you mean like why you're getting married?
You want to make it work.
You want to make it work.
Mm.
When you have children, you want to make it work even more. I understand some marriages, even with children, they find it difficult to make it work. But I also think, as Muslims, we have to play the long game. And by the long game, I don't mean only this life. I mean your whole life. As the children of Adam, we're going to live forever.
Die once.
You die once and you live twice. When they tell us you only live once, which is the biggest lie. So you have to look at the long game, and I'm talking about the eternal game.
So if I were to summarize what you're saying one of the most edifying things in your life would be the spouse you choose, albeit bride or husband.
It's the biggest decision you will make in your life, period. Maybe some people have other decisions which are more important than that. But the way I see it, and from my experience of my own marriage, and from other people's, I always tell them this is the biggest decision you will make in your life. Make it carefully. People, when they do a business deal, look at the lengths that they go to do a business deal. We're doing a deal over what the logo looks like. That's how we treat marriage.
That's true.
Which businessman, credible businessman, would do a business deal like that?
No, they wouldn't.
How
the risk assessment, the due diligence would be beyond. They'll have a whole team for it.
Absolutely.
And we don't.
And we don't. And why then do we cry and mourn over failed marriages? Did we start the marriage on the right foot?
Thank you very much. That nicely segues me on to asking you. You've watched the first and second episode, I hope.
Yeah, I have.
You have. Heartbreaking.
Very hard.
And I think we sometimes, because we're in it, we sort of take the emotion out of it.
Yeah.
But in this episode, I want to bring the emotion back into it.
Yeah.
So you as an expert, my expert in this field, tell me about what your take is on this, my guest's unfortunate marriage.
My take is, unfortunately, the way I see it, is that the brother started on the wrong path. And the way I see it is that he wanted to have a good time. He wanted to find a pretty girl. He doesn't want to find a pretty girl. And he got trapped. And this is what I've been saying from the beginning. The way if you look at Islam looks at marriage, it looks at ration before emotion. We live in the West, we brought up here, we watch all the films, the music, the dramas. We want the Hollywood romance. We want the pretty girl, the fit girl. We want all that stuff.
Is that what you think you went for, just purely?
I would say that's what it looks like to me. I don't want to judge the brother. There's much more to it than the 2 hours that I've seen. But if you start on that footing, don't come running to me when it breaks down.
So he set himself up to fail. Obviously, I did extensively ask him about his mental health, and I think the circumstances that he was put in, which are unfortunate for any human being with a pulse. So his mindset was all over the place. And I don't want to give my opinion, but perhaps he was chasing a high. Or, I don't know, he needed something. I want your...
He may have needed something. And, human beings are emotional and rational creatures. As mentioned at the beginning, marriage is the most important decision you will make in your life. It will affect your life long term, not only in this life. It could send you to the wrong place in the afterlife as well. So you need to tackle it carefully. So what happened, he may, I don't know the nitty gritty details, but it seems, and it's not a unique story. It's not a unique story. I've heard of these stories before. And if you start on the wrong footing, one person advised me many years ago, right? about marriage. Start as you intend to go on. When you're on that path, when you're in the fast lane, it's difficult to do a U-turn.
It's true, yeah.
Egos come in. What are people going to say? This, that, and the other. It's difficult to turn back.
$1 million question. I'm going to get very difficult now. Was it a fake marriage?
I've heard of many fake marriages like this.
Right.
Where
it was evident that he loved her, clearly.
It was evident that he loved her, and if you're in that state like he was,
sure,
deaths in the family and that sort of stuff, his emotions are going to be riding his mind when it should be the other way around. So it's very difficult easy to fall in that trap. And it's known, as I mentioned, an Arab. I heard amongst Arabs that they say, you go to Morocco, you get married. Now, I'm not judging Morocco or anything. It seems like you try to exploit them, but then you come crying when they exploit you.
So it's a level playing field then?
It's a level playing
field. You're trying to
field.
exploit and they're going to return the favour.
There you go. So I'm not there to judge this particular scenario.
No, I
it's
respect
not
that.
a unique scenario.
Okay, so this is a common occurrence.
A common occurrence. I know a brother that has a matrimonial agency. He hears it way too often, and he sees it firsthand.
From what we've got some British people and international brides.
Yeah, you see a lot of international brides, one child, looking for another man.
In this country.
In this country.
So there's a lot of international brides that
One
are
child,
single mothers looking for another man. One child.
Man.
And why? I mean.
Well, they've got the thing that they went into marriage for.
British passport.
There you go. You wave your British passport. Well, if that's your ticket, someone's taking it. That's their ticket as well.
What happened to good old-fashioned chivalry and?
This is the thing. Look, Islam. It is therefore. It is a rahmah for us. Allah said in the Quran, بعد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نزلنا عليك الكتاب تبيانا لكل شيء وهدى ورحمة وبشرى للمسلمين. And we have revealed to you the book as a clarification for all affairs, as a guidance, as a rahmah and a blessing and a good news for the believers. I was thinking about this the other day, about Surah Al-Fatiha. We recite in every prayer, in every rak'ah. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Show us or guide us on the straight path. What happens when you take a wrong turn, go left, take a wrong turn at the roundabout, blah blah blah? You try to get back to the straight path. Why not just stay in that path from the beginning? It will save you hurt. It will hurt. It will save you tears. It will save you pain. And it will save you failure.
Having spoken to this brother, and such a nice brother, warm-hearted, sincere, kind man, and it's very unfortunate that it's happened to him. But with everything in life, it's always unfortunate. One thing I hope he doesn't mind me saying is, and I'm not sure if he said it, I can't recollect, but Islam wasn't something that underpinned his actions at that time in place. And I think he mentioned that because of the tragedy that happened, it brought him close to Allah. And within that, there's a rahmah, isn't there?
Absolutely. I always like to quote Gandalf here. The burnt hand learns best.
We're learning so much here. So, can I allude from that, that you're saying is, had he been a little bit more religious, because what he wanted, if I can summarize what you're saying, is he wanted the religious life and family without adopting the religious principles.
That doesn't work. The Prophet ﷺ said, you can marry a woman لجمالها لمالها ولحسبها ولجمالها ولدينها. You can marry a woman for her beauty, her wealth, her lineage or her status, or for her deen. He said, take the deen, he said, may your hands be like dusted, That's where you will get the real thing.
That's what the goal is.
Because that's what the goal is, because if you have, it's your cultural anchor. it's your cultural anchor, it's the thing that ties you both together. If you have a problem, as you will have problems in your marriage, daily problems, what are you two going to reference back to as how are we going to solve this? What's the way forward? Either you take the culture which you're in, which is the Western culture, or you have an alternative culture.
Or a universal one.
Or a universal one,
which is
humanistic one.
Which is,
or the deen.
yeah.
He said, this is what Islam says.
Yeah.
Many times I say to my wife, this is not what I'm saying to you, this is what Allah is saying to you. If you want to complain to Allah, when you die, you ask Him, why did you say this?
That finishes the argument. And vice versa, I hope she says that to you.
And sometimes she said to me the other day, ask your sheikh, if you have enough money, you have to get me a helper to help me in the house. You know what? I'm going to ask my sheikh.
I'm sure you've got a helper anyway.
So, there you go.
Thank you very much. Any final thoughts about my guest's unfortunate last statements?
But we all make mistakes in life. I've made multiple mistakes in life.
Yeah.
Maybe I've made mistakes more than he has, but Allah has been merciful to me. It's a lesson. Stay on the straight path.
To him and everyone else.
To him and everyone else. You will eventually want to come back to that straight path. Don't take the U-turn. Don't take the wrong turn at the exit.
Yeah.
Stay on the straight path.
Just an epiphany to me. Mashallah, I appreciate you coming and giving so much wisdom. When I first started my career, this lady in her 50s used to come in. I was still working behind the ears, graduated, and she used to come in, and it was quite. What she said was poignant, but I didn't fully understand it until I was a bit older. And what she said was, all of you here are one paycheck away from the breadline.
Yeah.
And at the time, every week she came in and she was at the senior manager position, and she would repeat it as if it was her ethos. So you're one paycheck away from the breadline or on the dole. So why am I saying this? The reason I'm saying this is, you look at this brother who was brave enough to come and share his story, and you think something happened to me.
Yeah.
You might be on £1 million now. I'm just using SU's finances.
Yeah.
It only takes one thing and that's it, you're done. It may be a mental health issue, it might be a health problem. So we shouldn't be quick to judge others, and we should be fearful and ask Allah for protection. Well, thank you very much. No, thank you really. I think I've learned a few things. More importantly, humbleness is very important.
Absolutely.
Iqbal.
What's happening? You good?
Yeah, not too bad. I mean, you featured If No One Knows You in my first episode, and admittedly, you picked up a small, somewhat fan base of the younger crowd. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no worries.
Just before we go into why you're on here, have you got any final thoughts about? You've watched the part 1 and part 2 of the International Bride, haven't you?
Yeah, I watched both podcasts. Yeah.
You watched both of them. So just tell me what are your thoughts?
My honest thoughts are that there was red flags from the get-go. I would say obviously Shams went on a holiday with the boys, and obviously he was young, he wanted to enjoy himself, go out in the evenings, So obviously he's met his ex-wife in a shisha bar, I'm gonna presume, late in the night. And that to me that indicates already fun for the night, don't make her a wife.
Ooh.
All right. And obviously, yes, obviously I'm making an assumption it was a late night, I will say that. I think definitely. So going back to what I was saying a minute ago, there was many red flags from the get go. It's unfortunate. It's sad. Obviously, he was going through a very difficult time. But my honest opinion,
You shouldn't have brought her here. Is that what you're saying?
do you know what it is? I would say two things. I would say, ultimately, in my opinion, it's his fault.
Why is it his fault?
Because I think this happened when he was roughly 34 years old, right? When he got married, 34 years old.
I think yes, 34, yes.
That kind of age range. That kind of 34.
Yeah.
I would say if he was 23, 24 and that happened, then I'll understand that to a certain extent. But 33, 34, Shams is an educated man, he's got a good career, he's a handsome brother, you know, I'm sure he's had many experiences with women. You know, so I would say it's sad, but the boy should have stopped him. The boy should have said, you know, we're on holiday, it's Marrakesh or Agadir, I don't know where he went, I can't remember exactly. I'm going to make another assumption that it's 2 o'clock at the night. You know what I'm saying? She's showing her cleavage potentially.
Whoa. We have no proof of that, but yeah.
But potentially, there's no proof of that. I'm not saying it's 100%, I'm saying potentially.
Yeah, right.
There's a possibility.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's Morocco. I've never been to Morocco, but I hear the stories. Yeah, obviously the boys should always, yo, chill, man. Like, obviously, you know, I'm saying when you get back to the UK. But, you know, it was a tough time of his life, and obviously she brought him comfort. She was probably extremely beautiful, youthful, you know. I was speaking to a very successful man the other day, a week ago, and he said, I said to him, why do wealthy people in their 40s or 50s, wealthy as in, you know, making maybe potentially millions of pounds a year, why do they want to all marry 22-year-olds? Not even 28-year-olds. 22-year-olds.
You're asking a rhetorical question?
Yeah. So they're like, okay, let me ask you this question. This guy, he goes, if you're 45 years old, and say, for example, you went for a marriage, didn't work out, or never got married, you make, I don't know, £2 million a year. Are you going to look at another 44-year-old woman? Or a 25-year-old woman? And I thought, huh? Like, you're a millionaire. Like, obviously, I've never, obviously risk is from God, but obviously, because I'm not a millionaire, I can't, you know, and I'm 30 years old, and 31 years old, sorry, I couldn't really fathom that. When I got home, I'm like, actually, who wouldn't do that? Like, who wouldn't pursue a younger woman if there was a millionaire at 45?
You were saying that in your first episode.
I agree. No, but hold on, but the thing is, that's a different, no, but I was, look, 31, I'm talking about 25, 26, 5, 6 years, 7 years, whatever. Yeah. That's 45, 22, that's his old enough to be his daughter, isn't it? A little bit different. I'm sure it's a little bit different, right?
I did promise actually that I'd use his anecdote just to go on from you. So this is quite sad, but I did promise this person that I would say it. So this is another Moroccan incident actually. So this father had his daughter married, so his 25-year-old daughter to be precise.
Okay.
So he had his 25-year-old daughter married to whoever it was, right? And he was married. He's a father. His daughter's 25, so you could presume that he's maybe 50.
South Asian? Or
South Asian, yeah. Pakistani to be precise.
Okay.
So he's perhaps in his 50s and stuff like that. And after he got his daughter married, he flew off to Morocco and then married a girl his daughter's age.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
is he somewhat, sorry, is somewhat doing all right now?
I don't think you have to be successful to go to...
you don't have to be, but
anyway, it's got...
Yeah, fair enough.
That's not the point I'm making.
Yeah.
What the point I'm making is he can do what he likes. It's a free country.
Yeah.
But just sort of common courtesy and I don't know the family personally, but the person I know is a credible source, has said that his wife, the mother of his daughter,
got married,
she's got mental health issues now. And also just from a societal standpoint, like, you know, you're marrying a girl your daughter's age and you've perhaps gone to Morocco to exploit a girl that perhaps needs money or is in poverty. You've forced her hand. So, you know, perhaps men have desires, but what I'm saying is, you know, if we don't control our desires, then we're dogs. And I'm not being an animalist or anything like that, but we're human beings because we need to control our desires. That's what makes us human beings. Anyway, so thanks for your thoughts.
Of course, no worries.
I brought you on to ask you, would you consider an international bride?
Would I consider an international bride? Do you know what? I'll consider it. I will consider it.
Why would you consider an international bride? Because you've been on the market for quite a while now.
Yeah. So I mean, it's something. I'll be honest. It's something that I haven't really sort of delved into or like sort of looked into at all.
Yeah, sure.
But if I had to obviously put my finger on it a little bit, but I would say, you know, you like Shams. I'll reiterate what Shams said. Like beauty to me. Don't get me wrong, there's beautiful women in every race, right?
Yeah.
You know, but like, you know, I'll be honest, I found, obviously I've not met that many Moroccan women in my life, maybe a few, but, you know, they are beautiful. You'll definitely get youth. Like, if you go to Morocco and marry someone...
So you're saying you'd consider Morocco?
No, I don't think I'll go there because I'm not that much of a risk taker. I think it'll be... I wouldn't trust myself. I feel like I'll get conned in it. Like red passport. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, it's too much of a risk in it. Obviously, I've had businesses before, but the risk is high, man. Because anyway, but of course, you know, you'll get guaranteed to get 8 out of 10.
Guaranteed 8 out of 10.
Guaranteed 7. 7 out of 10. So 7 is so 5 is normal. 6 is a cute girl. 7 is beautiful. 8 is gorgeous.
So if you were to go to Morocco, because you mentioned Morocco, you could mention anything anywhere in the world.
Yeah,
you guaranteed 8 out of 10.
And you've
never
been to Morocco.
No, I've never been to Morocco, but I just have a feeling. I have a strange feeling. They're quite beautiful girls. I have a feeling. I've never been. But
You've never been to Morocco?
No, I've never been to Morocco, man. No,
Okay,
right. Yeah. But so anyway, going back to answering your question, sort of digressing a little bit. But so obviously you get someone quite good looking.
Yeah.
So
the point
youth, and also obviously, and someone quite feminine. Well, no. To be honest,
touchy subject.
I say feminine,
Yeah.
and I say submissive. But the world is a small community because of social media and the digital age we're living.
Yeah.
Some of the sisters there some of the women in Morocco they've got iPhones. They'll go, a lot of them go study. They go out in the evenings. So not
Right.
a lot of people go out in the evening. So they live some sort of a Western life. So that's not even guaranteed anymore.
So
sometimes
also,
also
listen, can I stop you there for 2 seconds? You're on the road. So you're saying, if I can extract what you've said to me, and jump in. You said that if you went international and used Morocco, that you're guaranteed an 8 out of 10.
7. So guaranteed
Okay,
7.
okay. So you're guaranteed a beautiful woman, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, you got a red passport.
Okay, right. But also you said that you somewhat guarantee femininity and submissiveness.
No, I'm saying, in this day and age, you don't guarantee it.
No, but you're saying you're more likely. Is that what you're saying? That you're more likely to get it there?
Because I would say about 10 years ago more likely. But now the world is the funniest thing is because of social media, the digital platform, working from home, internet, and this digital world we live in, we're all just a small community now. As in, so I wouldn't even say guaranteed, but a lot of men assume they'll get that.
Okay, so the perks you've just sort of outlined some of your perks internationally. Morocco as a country. In contrast to not getting it here. Talk to me about this country.
This country.
Oh, are there no girls in this country?
No, listen. I'm
listening.
Let's be honest. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when our parents came here, obviously some 50 years ago, say obviously your dad came here, my dad came here, they were single, they were like 15, 16 years old, whatever. They went back home. They had no options because like that time the population was tiny, minute potentially. Now there's obviously, I'll be honest, our parents, obviously me and you are similar sort of age, we're the same age, right? Our parents on average had 4.5 kids. Times that by hundreds of thousands of people coming to the country. I think there's like over 1 million Bengalis in this country. I think.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is, technically, there's options left, right, centre. There's women everywhere. Bengali women. Pakistani women. Everywhere. I'll see it like 10 times a day. So it's going back to what you're saying. So don't get me wrong. A lot of people want to bash women, but there's still a lot of feminine, caring, practicing sisters that are they've never sort of know their role as a woman.
Let's wrap this up. Let's wrap this up. So
there is many.
Okay, so I'm asking you specifically, right?
What's your actual?
I'm specifically asking you, would you consider an international bride? You've told me the perks of having an international bride in your opinion. Talk to me about the girls in your country, this country, England or Britain, if you want to go Scotland or Wales. Why are they in contrast different to beautiful, submissive and feminine? Because you're saying that's what you're guaranteed to get. So
I would say the latter is not guaranteed anymore because of the digital world we live in. But the other two, I'll be honest, there's more chance in it. At least, let me tell you why there's more chance.
Tell me.
Let me tell you why. The beauty and the youth here. Because anyway, let's be honest. Okay, let's be honest. Because of social media, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Hinge, Match, everything, Let's be honest, imagine a girl that's quite pretty, she'll have beta simp orbiters day and night.
Let me just in case.
So, for example,
so beta simp orbiters.
So
they're orbiting around her.
They're orbiting day and night. And like I said in the first episode, I sleep by 11:30.
Right.
So So bear in mind, so they're gonna look like what I mean by that is so
the pretty girls are in demand here.
I mean, even the girls that me and you won't look at, she walks past us in like the Daniel's queue. She's in demand.
So you're saying girls that you don't find pretty are still in demand?
Let me tell you a story. My cousin, I got a cousin here. He's 47 years old. Grew up in Milton Keynes, Southampton, born here. And he met his wife in Halifax. He went there.
When you say Halifax, the place
He wasn't even
Halifax
work.
or the bank?
Halifax is the bank. He didn't know.
Okay, yeah.
He didn't even work there.
Right.
He went to put some money in. He spoke to her. He told me something crazy. He said, I'm like, how long did you get to know her? 3 years. Then he said, I called her beautiful on the spot. And she went home. For about 4 days, she goes, no, I'm not beautiful, I'm not beautiful, I'm not. She couldn't believe that he said she's beautiful. Because I feel like, because of the digital media, because attention, even though it's something that a woman needs a lot, too much attention causes a lot of damage.
That's a wall.
Because put it this way, my uncle, my cousin, sorry, he's gonna watch it, and for 4 days she was questioning him, I'm not beautiful, I don't believe.
So you're saying now it's like,
and that itself is beautiful. I'll wife that. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Imagine like she doesn't believe it.
Well, how about yourself?
Sorry?
How about yourself? So your uncle is presumably older.
No, sorry,
than
my cousin. Sorry.
Your cousin, right? But he's presumably older than you, right?
45, 46.
What about
so
you've made a beautiful. That's a beautiful example.
Yeah.
Talk to me about now.
Do you know what? As in the issues now? Or?
Yeah, the issues you're having.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I see it. I mean, how did the funniest thing? Like since 2022, 2023, 24. For him speaking, I've probably met for the purpose of marriage, obviously, like 20 girls. And
lucky them.
No, that was only about 17. Probably spoke to like 50 people, talking stages and that.
Yeah.
So many talking. I'm done, finished with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, everyone thinks they could do better. Obviously, don't get me wrong, men so, not women only. Everyone thinks they could do better. And what that does is talking stage. Everyone's getting older, and everyone's getting married later.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, but there is some good stuff happening now. So make love for me, guys. Like, so feel like let's see what happens this year. But can I make one more point about the Morocco thing before?
Yeah, of course.
Do you know one thing I would say? Oh man, you know one thing about really love and lust, especially connected to a beautiful woman. Love and lust is a dangerous emotion. Because the reason it's a dangerous emotion, especially for men, because if it's how would I say it? Because it will blur any sort of rationality.
So it's not controlled.
Yeah, it will blur. Yeah, exactly. And many men have faced that. Many men have faced that. So, but yeah, that's the last thing I would want to say. Maybe Shams experienced some of that. It would sort of blur any sort of rationality.
Yeah, thanks for that. I've got one final question for you. Right?
Yeah,
so you've talked about, and this is quite profound to me. Yeah. So you said that pretty women in this country are heavily in demand, but those women that you don't find pretty at all, they're also heavily in demand.
In demand.
So chivalry and romance. You're saying you're a bit against it here.
No, I'm not against chivalry and romance.
No, I don't think you understand. What I'm saying is, you said something profound, that the pretty girls in this country, they're a finite entity. What I mean by finite is there's not many of them. You're saying, right?
Yeah, that's with every sort of race.
So I get that. So they're in demand, right? And they've always been in demand, right?
Yeah, they've been in demand from day.
Okay, right. But then you're saying that, let's say the average girls, they're also in demand. Are you saying you're not going to join that fight anymore?
Yeah, I'm not joining no fight. So I've got this ethos now in the last since about just 1.5 years now. Yeah, I've got this ethos here, where if I meet someone, for a friend, anyone, obviously I'm at age where you just get married, whatnot.
Yeah.
I would say traditionally, the man should like the woman more. Traditionally, I would say in 2024, the woman should like the man more. Let me tell you why. Because nowadays, if a girl is somewhat attractive, young, she could cook a good curry. I'm saying. Okay. Yeah. Then
make sure you demand that when you do speak to them.
Listen, I'm in trouble, man. But anyway, but yeah. So obviously, all the things were different. Obviously, different for 6 different boxes. But obviously, I'm saying the things that tick my boxes. They're in demand. So it's one of them ones where they've got many options, many guys shooting a shot, right?
Yeah.
So she's already flustered because remember, as soon as women got sort of freedom and opportunity to start choosing like the spouses. Because not too long ago, the men chose a woman. The woman
it's true.
Okay, little stuff. Do you work? Do you have any bad habits?
Yeah.
You pay and stuff. It was kind of basic, and she married you anyway, right? 34 years, not too long ago, right?
Yeah.
So I would say the reason she should like you more because she's got 50 guys pursuing her.
Yeah.
She's going to be 51. So in a weird way, I would say in this day and age, she should. It's better if she's attracted to you more.
So what you're saying is,
I know that's not.
you're saying you have to be pursued. You're
No, not fully, but
through that.
Yeah, it's better nowadays in 2024.
Oh, thank you very much, Iqbal. That was interesting. Any comments on Iqbal's diatribe?
I think I'm sitting in the wrong seat, to be honest. So it's very interesting.
Yeah.
We do have an issue with men. I feel this. Men always complain about women not being feminine enough. They want to go abroad. But I think also the other way.
Yeah.
I think men are not masculine enough. They're not man enough.
Yeah, I agree.
And
Such
it plays both ways. I think naturally, if man shows those masculine features, he can make a decision, he can stick to it, he has responsibility, looking after his family, putting his family always before himself. I think women will naturally endear to that type of man. But also, I hear a lot men, they say, look, hear all this stuff from girls that they're speaking to. I think it's a real massive problem. The house is the most important institution in the whole of society, the family. What the shaitan has done,
Well, it's withered away now, isn't it?
is he has torn that household apart. And in doing so, he has torn society.
So we're in a bit of a dilemma, and I do think the international. To be fair, you can get to the end. You can get to the other side of the world in perhaps a day or so.
Yeah.
You can get to other countries in 2-3 hours, subject to getting through airport security. So I do think we live in a global village, but I also do think that domestically, if you can find someone domestically, then you're sort of in a euphoric state. Because when you do go, what people don't understand, and I've sort of spoken to this extensively about other people, when you go abroad and you meet a girl, there's a difference between going abroad and on business or on a holiday and finding a girl.
Yeah.
You have to definitely factor in the socio-economic factors.
Absolutely.
Because, I'm not putting this situation to a side. Iqbal said you're on a guarantee to get an 8 out of 10.
7.
7 out of 10. Whatever, 7, a good looking girl, right?
Yeah.
Now, if you're, and I'm not nothing to you, if you're not putting 7 out of 10s here, and you go and put it abroad, you need to question yourself, she must want something else.
Exactly.
Because you're not getting it here. So if you're getting it somewhere else, it might be the British passport, it might be the cheddar, whatever it may be, right?
You're right.
So that needs to be factored in. And also, what people don't realise, and we're very, very fortunate, even as ethnic minorities in this country, albeit if you're African, if you're Asian, or from anywhere other parts of the world where your mum and dad or your great grandfathers they were in abject poverty. We are 95. We are richer than 95% of the world.
Yeah.
If you're an average person here, you're richer than 95% of the world.
Yeah.
So invariably, when you go to these second and third world countries, they will see you as money. Not that it's any fault of themselves, but that will always be an obvious factor. But you have to also use humility and be humble and objective when you look for a spouse.
Absolutely. I'll give you a beautiful example from my marriage, from my mother-in-law. When I went to marry my wife, they weren't asking for the moon. They were actually asking for very humble stuff. They wanted to show to me that we don't want your money. We're not marrying our daughter for your passport.
Yeah.
We are concerned that you are a good man. That's what you should be looking for. What I've heard, all respect to yourself, 7s, 8s, 9s.
Yeah.
Where's the priority? Where's the priority?
Yes.
Now, do you know what? Look, let's be honest. It all withers away anyway. You know what I'm saying? As we get older, men, women, looks do fade. There's things that are more important as well. Character, dean. Potentially she could be the mother of your child.
You didn't mention that when you were.
No, but do you know what? Because obviously,
it sounds like you are trying to go on.
No. Listen, the reason I say that
because
I was on the first podcast 5 months ago, and the host here, I said this is not because people think I'm probably corrupt here, but this is not meant to be such a religious Well, religion was Muslim, and alhamdulillah, we are so lucky, but it's not meant to be a completely religious podcast because there's many.
No, he's not into
No.
He's
That's
saying,
why I don't talk about it.
Yeah.
People probably think, oh, this guy's on a mad thing. He's talking about Moroccan fun and all that stuff, yeah. But obviously, these are as important, if not more.
True.
I know that. It's just the reason I talk about these things because these are things that are
You're being
shy
honest.
about. Yeah, shy
You're
about
being
talking
honest.
about. And
You're being
like
honest.
we said, for the main things a man should look for. Beauty is still there. Second and third.
Absolutely.
So I just talk about, of course, it's characters, femininity, family, upbringing. But it's just, I don't really mention them things because like it should be quite obvious, you know. But anyway, yeah.
Thank you. Do you want to finish off any?
I was going to say, you say it's quite obvious, but
Well, it should be.
but it's not. It's not. And that's why we're sitting here talking about the
That's true.
subject.
Do you know what? Can I make one more point?
Sure.
Another reason why a lot of people are struggling to get married. Whether it's attractive woman, it's a very sexual man. Obviously, it's Islamic side, shaitan, and whatnot. Another thing is, I still think, unless you're in a relationship 4 or 5 years, which is obviously haram, I still think when a sister once like is old enough for marriage, whatever that could be 21, 25, 29, whatever, yeah, they need to reach out to the brother, the dad, the uncle, and I feel like when there's a mahram involved from the beginning, I've seen these weddings happen like that 4, 5 months, 6 months still. I know 3 people got married like that, and not that it's a rush, but I feel like if you do it the right way, marriages will happen. But obviously, we're out here going, you know, everyone's looking for this, everyone's looking for that, everyone's looking for.
Thank you very much.
But yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Iqbal.
Yeah.
Thank you, Waisab. I do think this story was unfortunate, and more importantly, I think, firstly from me, the guest was very brave in coming out and bringing out awarenesses, and he asked me quite kindly, and a request that I can't turn down, and what it was is he asked me to read out a statement to the audience about his final thoughts, and I'm almost obliged to read this out. And this is from my guest, who has come on the part 1 and part 2 of the series, and really told the world about his story. And I'm going to read his speech now.
I've read some of the comments and completely agree that our religion have to play a pivotal role in every Islamic marriage. Having learned the hard way, of course I accept my due diligence wasn't thoroughly checked. If we practiced our deen, maybe the current divorce rate wouldn't be as high this day and age. Painful lesson learned. During my turbulent marriage, I was advised to pray istikhara, and exactly 30 days later into my prayers, I found the hurtful text messages, which was the start of the end of our marriage. My prayers were answered, and I received a painful lesson, yet the best guidance imaginable. My observation over the last 2 weeks, primarily from the comments section, shows that our community doesn't allow us to be vulnerable and discuss the impacts on mental health and hardship. It's somewhat not accepted. We all have opinions, and I completely get it and I respect it, but I'm at that stage where I'm thick-skinned and numb to the comment section and have no emotions towards it. If I was maybe younger and maybe a bit more naive, and everyone's opinions would have had an impact on my mental well-being and possibly derailed me from religion. However, I'm a bit older, wiser, and immune to hateful opinions. This show is about raising awareness on different walks of life. The world has changed over the last 2 decades. Women are more independent. Social media is worshipped more than religion. Arranged marriage via the mosque is a rarity. And on a bigger scale, killing of innocent people around the world is no longer a crime. Yet, mental health amongst our community is not accepted. Right now, I personally believe our community must adapt and evolve in understanding the new generation along with our approach and invitation to Islam. Otherwise, we fear more and more young people will derail from religion. Belittling someone is not the way anymore. We must welcome our brothers and sisters' hardship and mistakes with open arms and align our religion, our faith, as a key indicator to pursue happiness and peace. Knowledge is power. Thank you for your support, guys.
Thank you very much, guest. If you're watching, hopefully I fulfilled your request from me, primarily word to word. and I think it's only apt for me to give my opinion on the situation. I thank my guest, Brother Imdad, coming on and giving his verdict. I also thank Iqbal for touching on this unfortunate story. But I do think that his marriage was very, very unfortunate. And as Brother Imdad has said, that this is a common occurrence. And I'll just sort of reiterate what I said earlier on. If you are looking internationally to get married, again, that's your prerogative. But factor in that they're also human beings and they have not been dealt the same cards as you have. So if you want to exploit them, then, you know, you're going to get slapped back in the face as well. I do think his marriage has ups and downs like any other marriage or any other couple relationships if you're not married. I don't want to allude to anything that's not substantial or hasn't been provided as evidence to me, but I do think, knowing him as a personal brother, when I mean by brother, I've spent at least 10 hours over the stage of about 2 weeks getting to know him and understanding his personality and persona, that he's a good man. And I do genuinely believe that he gave it his all. I do think she may have had other objectives. I can't fully confirm. I've asked her to come on. She hasn't come on. I do sincerely wish her all the best. I do sincerely wish him all the best. But he did make some fatal mistakes. Firstly, the due diligence he didn't do. Secondly, Islam was sort of tertiary to him. He was more interested about partying and perhaps messing around. But I do think he is where he is now, and I do think it's very unfortunate. But I think we can, you know, happily close this chapter, and I wish him the very best. And I hope he does find someone that can replace that very, very unfortunate chapter with bliss and kids. And I wish him all the best. Allah yarhamuk. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned from it. But we, a silent majority, we're all about creating awareness. We're all about having these conversations. We're all about our communities and the public having these engaging chats, and really amongst your friends and families, really addressing these and thinking, oh, I think like this and you think like this. Let's talk about it. You know, at the end of the day, we all have problems and we all have faults. But if we keep shunning them and sweeping them under the carpet, then they go on for longer than they should, and it damages our society and community. Thank you very much for watching. See you on the next episode. Thank you.